Alright guys, I want to come at you real quick today and kind of give you an overview, sort of what started it all for me, and where I'm at now. So when I got into bow hunting a few years ago, I originally started out with a crossbow. It's not going to be in today's video. It's down and out with some technical problems. I haven't shot it in a while. It needs some parts to keep it running. Anyway, that's another story. So when I decided to get into compound bow hunting, I approach that the same as I do anything else, you know, kind of with a budget mindset. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. I didn't really think there was a need in it. I thought, you know, in my mind, I can kill the same amount of deer with a cheap bow as I can with an expensive bow, and to an extent, that's true. What a lot of people will tell you, you know, is you're only as good as your equipment. To an extent, that's true. So I want to show you this. I started out with this Diamond Edge 320, and I can't really say anything bad about this bow. I mean, it weighs nothing. It's super lightweight. When you do, like I did, I researched this to death before I decided to buy a bow, period. And this is what I settled on for a few reasons. You could, it's a dual cam bow. It's got the modules on it to where you can take your draw length from like, oh man, 20 something inches, you know, all the way to like 31 or something like that. It's a crazy big thing it's a crazy amount of adjustment. You can take it from like 7 to 70 pounds on your draw weight. Like, it was really cool, and it's supposed to be where you can do most of that yourself. Now, when I bought this bow, I ended up actually setting it up at home on my own. Never fooled with the bow, just watched some YouTube videos and set it up. So this bow got me through a couple of seasons, and I really liked it. I still really like it. It's still my backup bow. If something were to happen to my main bow, this is exactly what I would pick back up. The only thing I would change, really, like I've got this bow dialed in pretty good. The only thing I would change is the arrows that I run. So that's another kind of a budget mindset thing. Like, so I started out buying these Beam and Carbon White Box. They're not terrible arrows, and I'll say this: if you don't ever go shoot a really high-end arrow, if you don't shoot a really good arrow, you're not going to notice a difference shooting these budget ones. Like, I could get these to group decent, I could get them to fly pretty decent, I could, you know, I've killed deer with them. I've killed several deer with them. That being said, when you go and shoot something like this, it's a Easton Axis 5mm match grade. When you shoot these, it's no comparison. Like, these Easton Carbon White Boxes, in my opinion, compared to these, are junk. These are no account. So one of the things I really love, like I said, about this Diamond is the adjustability of it. It's a solid bow for the money. It's like 350 bucks, 400 bucks, something like that. It is an entry-level bow. I could still be shooting this bow, no problem. I could have put a nicer sight on it, a drop away rest. Instead, I stuck with the old Whisker Biscuit that came with it. I stuck with the old cheap Apex 3-pin sight that came with it. And I didn't really realize how crappy this sight is until I bought my other bow. So last year, around the first of the season, the Diamond got to shooting kind of wonky, so I took it to a bow shop and just had them go through it with me and paper tune everything, because I didn't know how to do that, and get everything really dialed in on it. We got it, I mean, shooting really good for what it is. It had nothing to do with the bow. 90% of my problem was the arrows. They're just cheap arrows. They're just not a high-end arrow, and so that's where most of my problem was coming from. And the guy told me that. He said, you know, you're shooting Chinese broadheads, you're shooting cheap arrows, you know, they're just bottom of the barrel. He said they're crooked as they can be. Well, I looked at them and thought, well, you know, they look straight to me. But anyway, I think this is like a 0.05 or 6 or something straightness, where these match grades are like 0.001. So obviously they're gonna fly a lot better. The bow that I replaced the diamond with. So last year I hunted the first probably quarter of the season with the diamond. I killed my very first buck that I'd ever killed with a compound bow. I got with that diamond last year. At the first of the season, it was a small one, but you know, I got it with it, and the Beemans, the old Chinese D-Power lighted nocks, and the D-Power broadheads, the one-piece ones. Those are actually pretty decent broadheads. I mean, if you're gonna look at a Chinese option, those are not bad, really and truly. So I'm not against, you know, budget stuff at all. I feel like I never really knew what I was missing until I got this bow. This is the Elite Envision. I got it last year, like I said. About a quarter of the way into the season, I got this bow, and so I hunted 3/4 of the season with this bow last year. I've been shooting it all winter. After the season, I've shot it all spring and summer. I freaking love this bow. It's got the CBE Trek sight on it. It's not the Trek Pro, it's just the CBE Trek. It's got, you know, they give you several different color rings that you can put in it. It's a 3-pin. It's micro adjust. The only thing I wish was different about this sight is they don't give you enough sight tapes. I'm drawing like, I think my draw length is set at like, or my weight is set at like 66 pounds because we put it out. So I can max this out to 70 pounds. It's set at like 65 right now, but I can max this out to 70 pounds and pull it no problem. And this is, I think, a 70% let off, 70 or 80. I can't remember, the diamond. We set this one to what was supposed to be 70 pounds. You know, it's got 70-pound limbs. We maxed it out, and it was pulling like 74 pounds. And with the let off that I had it on, I think I had it set at 90% let off when we tried to max it out. I couldn't pull it back, and I couldn't draw it back and be like, it was just too much for me. So we bumped it down to 66 pounds. He measured the weight with the trigger, or with the gauge and everything, and we ended up setting it at 66 pounds on the draw, and changed the let off to 80. And I can pull it like butter, like no problem. I can hold it back, you know, as long as I need to. But so that being said, this bow right here, by the time I bought the bow, I ordered the Elite stabilizer with it, the CBE Trek sight. Then it was like close to 300 bucks for the sight. I put a drop away Elite QAD drop away rest on it. Let's see, the Elite 6-arrow quiver. I ordered the Easton Axis 5mm match grades for it. I have since started building my own arrows. I don't know if it really saves me any money, but I just like building my own now. So I've started building my own arrows, and that helps out a little bit. But so all said and done, all in, by the time I paid them to set it up for me, paper tune it, get everything right on it, I've got close to $2,500 in this bow the way it sets, which is a ridiculous amount of money. Now, when I first started bow hunting, I was like, that ain't gonna happen. There's no way, that's never gonna be me. I'm not gonna pay thousands of dollars for a bow. But after shooting, I shot my buddy's Elite. He had the Encore, and I shot it, and it was like night and day difference in how smooth that bow drew, shot, how quiet it was compared to my budget bow. This bow is lighter than the Elite, but it's not what the Elite is. Now, like I said, this is still not a bad bow, especially if you're a beginner looking to get into it. You don't want to sink a lot of money, or you're on a budget and you just don't have that kind of money to throw at a bow to get you started. It's not necessary. You can buy a budget bow, and these are great, and they have their place. Like I said, I've killed quite a few deer with this one. I really like it. It's just not what the Elite is. So, like I said, I approach everything with a budget. a budget mindset, so I do still try to cut corners where I can. Like I said, you can see when I self film, I got a little cheap GoPro mount on the front of my stabilizer here that I just set my GoPro on, so when I see a deer coming, all I gotta do is hit the button and it records the shot anyway, even if I can't get it with my main camera. I also have another mount here that I made. This is just a piece of PVC pipe with some camo duct tape, and I put a GoPro thumb screw in the bottom, so I can slip a different selfie stick like in there to hold the GoPro, so I can put it on that one if I want to and get a different angle. I don't use that one a lot, but it's still on here if I want to use it. Sometimes I'll use that for when I'm filming myself after, like if I'm filming something, because this basically it just puts the GoPro facing forward, so I'm seeing whatever it's seeing, whatever I'm seeing. Now this, I could actually put it in and turn the camera a different way so that it can film me and I can talk without having to do a lot of other stuff. But let me shoot these two real quick and show you the difference. If something were to happen to this Elite, you know, something crazy like my buddy, his Elite, they said it was really rare, they hadn't seen a lot of it, but they had seen it a time or two. On his cams, the little knob right here where the string actually hooks around, on his Elite, he was at a tack shoot and he was at full draw, and that thing broke out of the cam and his bow just completely, you know, blew up. It caused the limb to crack. It caused a lot of damage to the bow. It was cool though, you know, even though he'd had the bow for a good while, Elite, they warranted every bit of it. They replaced the cams, they replaced, he got a new set of strings out of the deal and a new set of limbs, and it didn't cost him anything. You know, Elite reimbursed the shop for all of it, and he was not out any money. And the cool part is, they actually put the same cams and modules and stuff that this Envision has on his bow. So he's shooting the Encore, but it's got the same cams and stuff that my bow has on it. And his is like 2 years older than mine. So I mean, that was cool of them. It kept him running. He was down and out. He had to shoot a different bow for the rest of that shoot. They loaned him a Hoyt, I think, or something. But so listen to how quiet. Like I said, they'll tell you, you know, you get what you pay for, and to an extent, that's right. I mean, you can, like I said, you can still kill deer no problem with both of these bows. The difference is with the Elite and the Diamond, like, you don't really know what you're missing if you don't shoot it. So I mean, if you don't have the money to put down like a crap ton of money, and I totally get that, especially for, you know, your regular working guy and stuff like that. I completely get that 100%. And you're just wanting to get into bow hunting or something like that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with getting a budget bow, a beginner bow. And like I said, you don't really know what you're missing if you don't shoot it. But let me show you some of the things that I learned since getting the Elite versus the Diamond that I didn't ever realize. Even after I first got the Elite, I didn't realize it was a problem until after I went back and shot this a couple times after I'd shot the Elite. So you can hear, I don't know if you can hear it on camera, but you can for sure hear it in person and feel the difference. So like, super smooth draw on this bow. I can hold this back all day long. Like, this is nothing. It feels like nothing. Oh, I'm used to my kisser button now. It's gonna be hard to shoot. I don't have a kisser button on this Diamond. You hear how loud that was? Now I'm gonna shoot the Elite. And that was crazy. I got so used to shooting these Easton Axis arrows when I just shot that beaming. You could literally, and this bow is tuned really good. Like, it's been to the shop, paper tune, like it's tuned out really good, but you could literally watch that arrow kick and do some crazy stuff before it hits the target. And I'm just at 20 yards shooting at this target. Now, listen to the difference. You heard the Diamond, now here's the Elite. Still super smooth draw. It's got a little bit different of a back wall than the Diamond. I can still hold this back all day. Like I said, it's super smooth. That arrow, like, there's so much less vibration in this Elite than that Diamond. that arrow, when it comes off the bow, it's like a daggum death dart. Like, it's super straight all the way to the target. You don't see it kicking and fishtailing and doing all kind of crazy stuff. Like, when I shot the Beeman just now, watching the arrow going to the target, I was almost afraid it was going to miss the target. I mean, it was kicking and doing so much crazy stuff compared to these. So, like I said though, if I do go back to shooting this, I'll probably build a set of arrows, or I'll just take these ones that I built for my Elite. Like, if something were to happen to this and I had to go back to this to finish the season, or you know, for a little while or whatever, I would definitely recommend going to a more expensive arrow, something that's going to fly straighter and better than I would. I will never go back to these. Like I said, they're just not. Now I know. Like I said, you don't know if you don't shoot them, but I will never go back to shooting those cheap arrows again, like at deer. It's just not, in my opinion, shooting this at a deer is not as ethical as shooting this at a deer, because this is 100% better than those Beemans ever thought about being. These are just a straighter arrow. I'm not saying Beeman is a bad brand. If you get their .001s, whatever it is that they make in a .001, it's going to fly a lot straighter than these. So I guess it doesn't have to be an Easton Axis. However, that being said, I do love these. So if I go back to shooting the Diamond, this is what's going to run through it. But just in general, this bow is not nearly as quiet as the Elite. It's still not a bad bow. Like I said, it's a great bow for beginners. I can still hit 20, 30, 40 with this 3-pin sight, this little cheap junk. I mean, this is about as bottom of the barrel as it gets as far as your sight goes. Like, this is about as cheap an option as you can get, and you can tell just how much faster the bow shoot. Look how close together those pins are on the Elite versus how far apart, I don't even know if you can see it, how far apart they are on the Diamond. Like, they're night and day difference. They're almost twice as far apart on this Diamond as they are the Elite. So the Elite is definitely shooting way faster. Like I said, the only problem I have with this sight, I wish they had gave me more sight tapes with it, because the tapes that it comes with it, it's got quite a few, but it did not have one that matched my bow. And so, as you can see, the one that they give you to sight it in with is the one I had to stay with. I made my marks from 20 yards all the way out to 60 right now is all I've got. Every 5 yards I've got a mark. So from 20, 25, 30, 35, so on, all the way to 60, I've got marks, and I've got my dual indicators going, so I can use my top or bottom pin as a floater. That's just what I'm going to stick with. I may go to the bow shop and have them make me, because they can print you out a sight tape that matches your bow once you have quite a few marks like that. I've probably got enough now where they can make me a really good sight tape for this bow. But it's so close to hunting season, I probably won't do it before the season. I went ahead and got all those marks made out, and then I put me a clear piece of, I don't even know what it's called. It's the clear stuff when you're using a crack up machine. The clear, it's almost like tape. It's clear, you can see through it, and it's sticky on one side and not on the other. So I made all my marks in my pen, and then I put that over top of it, so maybe it wouldn't get wet and cause the ink to run or anything. But so anyways, basically what I'm getting at, if you got to go the budget route, this is not a bad option. The Diamond, I really like this bow for what it is. Like I said, it got me into bow hunting. It got me excited about it. I've killed deer with it. It's not a bad bow at all. It's super light, very adjustable. These are not bad bows. If you're going to buy a budget bow, buy a good arrow. Build you a good arrow for it, or buy you a good arrow for it to have it built, as opposed to shooting the cheap arrows. You don't always, you're gonna get what you pay for. I mean, I'm not saying you can't kill deer with this and you can't kill deer with those Beeman arrows. You can. You absolutely can. You can kill them with that same setup I had, the cheap broadhead, the cheap arrow, the cheap lighted nocks, all that stuff. You can still kill deer with no problem. you're just going to be a world more efficient, I think, with a higher end bow and higher end arrows. And like I said, but if you can't get the higher end bow, like if it's something that's just not in your budget this year or not in your cards, but you still want to get into bow hunting, get you a diamond. Get you, you know, I think the Bear makes one now. They've got I don't even know which one it is, but there's a lot of companies out now that have them with the rotating modules, and they're easily adjustable. You know, they got a wide range of poundage that you can adjust, the draw length that you can adjust, so they can fit just about anybody. And I'm sure they're all good bows. I haven't shot those, but I mean, if you got to go with a budget bow to get into bow hunting, do it. I 100% recommend it. Like I said, the only thing I would say to do is probably get you a good arrow. These Easton Axis arrows, it's like night and day watching them fly versus those cheap arrows. That was 90% of my problem with this bow. Like I said, this one is set up. It's my backup bow, so if something happens and I can't use the Elite, or something happened to the Elite, you know, and I had to send it to the shop for a little while for some weird reason, I would have this. I could go pick this up, run one of these Eastons through it, make sure that everything's dialed in on it, even with this cheap, you know, budget sight. This is probably like a $20 sight. Even with this cheap sight, I can still get it shooting good enough, I'm sure, with these arrows, where I can be just as deadly as I need to be in the woods as with this Elite. Like I said, the only thing is, this is a lot louder when you shoot it than the Elite is. The Elite is just night and day different, quieter. But like I said, you get what you pay for. I would have never known, had I not shot my buddy's Elite, I would have never really known. Like I was telling everybody when I got this bow, you know, like, you don't have to spend $1 million to bow hunt, and you don't. Like I said, I still hunt with a lot of budget, a lot of stuff I still go budget on. Like my hunting clothes, I'm still hunting with, you know, bargain bin Walmart stuff, Academy stuff off the rack that's on sale after the season, which I smoke my clothes anyway, so I wouldn't really want something like a scent lock or something that doesn't absorb the scent because of the fact that I smoke my clothes. But at this stage, I don't see the point in paying what they want for Sitka stuff and scent lock and all that stuff. That really high-end clothes. I'm sure they have their perks, and I'm not knocking on them. I haven't tried them, but I'm not gonna knock on them anyways. I just don't see the point in spending them for the way that I hunt. But like my release, I'm still hunting with a Velcro. I don't even have a leather strap. I'm still hunting with a Velcro release. Now I did shoot a hinge release the other day at the bow shop, and I gotta say that thing was freaking sweet. Do I think it's worth what they want for it? No. It was like a $270 release. I can't see paying that for a release, but it was super nice. It felt really good. Like I feel like I could probably be more accurate with that release than I could this with a little practice, just because of the way it is. But this, I've got a buddy, he spent a lot of money on I'm not gonna say the brand, but it's a thumb button. It's a higher end thumb button, and I don't know what the deal is with it, but we could not get his adjusted out right. It's either, we even took it to the shop, the guy at the shop couldn't get it to adjust out like he wanted it. So he's got a $300 release that's either insanely hot, like if you barely even touch the thumb button, it goes off. He's hit himself in the face so many times trying to shoot that thing just because it's either too hot, or it's entirely, like, you got to squeeze it and it's just way too cold on the trigger, and it's just not, his accuracy suffers. There's not really a sweet spot on his for some reason. I don't know if something's wrong with the release or what. But that being said, there's not a lot of room for error. I mean, if this is a $30 release from Walmart, and I've got another one just like it, just not in a camo strap, that I keep in my bag. So if I were to lose this one, or, you know, something happened to this one, I've got another one I can pull right out of my bag, strap on and go. Velcro strap and everything. So what I'm saying basically is, you can go budget on some things, and it's okay. And some things it's just going to pay dividends in the long run to spend a little more money and do things. I still go budget as much as I can on a lot of things. That being said, I'm not afraid to spend the money if I can afford it. You know, for some things, like I will spend the extra money to get something nicer, to get something, you know, that's more functional for me and that's going to make me more efficient in the woods. I'm still running a homemade camera arm, so I mean, I would like to have a 4th arrow camera arm or something like that, you know, one of the nicer ones. But this is the 4th time I've redone a homemade one. I just redid it again this year. I'm gonna do a video on that here in a week or so. I've been playing with it. It's functional, you know what I mean? Like this is the 4th time I've rebuilt it, and it does better than it did the other 3 times. Like I've just keep changing things as I go in the design of it, and I've got it pretty good at this point. But it's still not as good as, I'm sure, a 4th arrow or some of those higher end arms. But like I said, there's some things you can save money on, and some things it really pays to spend the money on. And one of the things for sure is the arrows, 100%. But like I said, if you can't, everything has its place, you know. So if you can't afford to spend what they want on these things, and you have to buy these, you can kill deer with these all day, guaranteed. It's just, if there was any one thing that I was going to say, branch out and spend the money on, it would be arrows, for sure. Like I said, you can still get a budget bow and kill the crap out of deer, but get a good arrow. This year I'm actually shooting, and I shot, ever since I bought this Elite, I've been shooting the green Swacker 2-inch from Walmart. They're like 30 bucks for 3 of them. The mechanicals, I always said I'd never shoot a mechanical head, but honestly, I really like those broadheads. They leave a killer hole, you know. They're still kind of a budget option. They're 30 bucks for 3 of them. And so far, I haven't had any complaints with them. Every deer I've shot with them, I've found, they haven't went far. Killer blood trails, you know. So like I said, some things you can get away with on a budget, some things you can't. You're gonna get what you pay for. But that being said, that's my little spiel for this one. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of show you guys what I was going to be running this year, and give you kind of the pros and cons of a really expensive bow versus the budget bow, the kind of stuff that got me into hunting in the first place. Like I said, I'm still on a budget mindset. I've not moved away from that. I save money where I can, but I do see the benefit in spending your hard-earned money on something like this when you can, versus something like this. Like I said, it's just it's a big step up in quality in what you're getting and how smooth it is. Like I said, this bow draws really smooth. It has a good solid back wall. It's not a bad bow at all. I really like it. But when you go and shoot this for a while, and then you go back to shooting this, you can really see the deficiencies in this bow and what it is. I mean, what you get, what you pay for. Like I said, that's the main thing. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of an overview on where we're at, where we're going, what our mindset is for today, and maybe this helps somebody when you go making your decision for buying a higher end flagship style bow versus a budget bow, if you've got the money to do either one, you know. Anyways, thanks. I'll catch you guys in the next one.